So, Skrulls are the bad guys. And you're a Kree.
So congratulations on your movie. It is a really different movie from the previous that you made, isn't it? How is that process to get into a big budget movie?
It's really fun. It was a really fun process. I mean, it was definitely exercising a different creative muscle. We're so used to making smaller movies that are reality-based and naturalistic, and we go into a location, we're reacting to these real spaces and real things around us and using them to make the film. And in this case, we had a lot of worlds that we were building from scratch. And therefore, you know, kind of our imaginations were the limit. And that's just a really different creative muscle to exercise, but it was a fun one.
Is there something that surprised you that you went, oh, we can do that?
Yeah, I think the visual effects component to the movie was really daunting at first and a little intimidating, but I think that we were working with some really wonderful, patient and talented people who sort of gave us an education in visual effects, and it was really fun, and I think that's something that won't be intimidating anymore. It'll be something that we look forward to using again.
I wanted to talk about that because Black Panther won 3 Oscars the other day, and it reminded us that these movies are very collaborative, very collective. Is there someone from your team that you would want to stand out, whose work would you want to emphasize?
There are so many people who work on these movies. I mean, they're just literally thousands of people. So I don't think that we could say one individual person, but there were so many. I mean, there's Geneva, who we were writing with. There's Chris Townsend, who is our visual effects supervisor. Victoria Alonso, who kind of heads that aspect of it off in from Marvel. Jonathan Schwartz, our producer. I could really go on and on and on.
Pinar, our composer,
who was incredible, and our editors.
We're gonna take up all your time.
Yeah, we're just gonna start listing. Literally, have you seen how long the credits are? Just roll the credits.
There are a lot of homages to the 90s in your movie, like the blockbusters, the pinball. There's this Terminator 2 vibe that I saw in the movie. Is there something specific like that you wanted to pour in this movie from the 90s, personally?
Yeah, I mean, the Blockbuster was a big deal. I worked in a Blockbuster in 1995, and so walking onto that set was kind of like a time machine where all these VHS cases were filled with on all of the shelves, and it was just really fun to walk around that set. Yeah, really fun.
Which movie from the 90s did you think we have to pay an homage to this one?
Well, you said Terminator 2. That was certainly one that we were thinking about. There's also a little bit of Point Break, a little bit of The Matrix.
A little RoboCop, which is not 90s, but close to it.
And close enough.
I understand you're very collaborative with your team. How was working with Brie Larson? Did she bring a lot to the table for her character?
Yeah, absolutely. She brought so much to the table. I mean, she is this movie. She's like the only one on the poster. Yes, and she's somebody who, even before we had a script, we were talking about the character and what was important to us about bringing that character to life.
I read yesterday, preparing for this interview, that when Disney hired James Gunn for Guardians of the Galaxy, you were in conversations for that movie. Can you tell me what was your vision for that movie? And have you been trying to get to direct a Marvel movie for a lot of time?
This will disappoint you, but that was actually incorrect. We were never up for Guardians. We never had any conversations with them. In fact, when I know the article you're talking about, it was mentioned our agent saw that and called up Marvel and said, "What is this? What happened?" And so, in a weird way, that kind of got the conversations going between us and Marvel.
Because they were like, "Who?"
And so
it was just a misunderstanding on the telephone, I think, like a game of telephone. Somebody misunderstood the names and printed that it was us. They were wrong.
good journalism.